Greens, everyone. Core here, and it's time for another midnight review. I'm actually getting better at saying that now. Probably because I've been pretty busy this summer so far. Still got a few more movies left, but I'll definitely have my top 10 probably end of August, if not by September at least. But if you're interested in that, keep an eye out for that. But let's get right down to it. I've decided to get right to the point with movies now, just so you know if it's a good or not movie, if you should see it or not. And tonight I saw Atomic Blonde, which was alright. I was a little disappointed. I was kind of hoping for more, but if you're interested in a action movie with some spy thriller stuff, it's worth seeing. If you're not too interested in that, just kind of want an action movie, or the trailers looked interesting enough to you. If you've already seen like Dunkirk, if you've already seen Valorant, which I would recommend Valorant over this Atomic Blonde. If you've seen all the superhero movies, then okay. Right now, Atomic Blonde's kind of past that, but of course, if you have the choice between Atomic Blonde and Emoji Movie, I would definitely recommend Atomic Blonde. Granted, I did not see, excuse me, I did not see Emoji Movie, but just from the trailers, it doesn't look too good. Sony animation hasn't really been that great lately, so it is what it is, right? But yeah, so I just want to get right out in front and say it. If a movie is worth your time, I want to try to say that at least in the first minute, which I have failed in this video, but I am working on it. So now let's get into the detail of why it's not quite as good as I thought. So from the trailers, it's really cool. It has a Kanye West song of Personal Jesus that he uses, and it works so well in that trailer. And usually I don't like Kanye West because I don't know, I would consider him more of a DJ than an artist, because he samples a lot of music from other people who have made really great songs, and then he makes his own in his own way, even though it still sounds very similar to the original. But nonetheless, that song works very well, and I think that's what drew me off about this movie, is that this movie's soundtrack is it's all 80s and late 80s music, and it just drew me off for some reason. And I don't know, like half the songs kind of work in the situation and stuff, but most of them don't. Sorry, I'm actually looking up something real quick, because the director is Joe Wright, I believe, and I don't know, like it just doesn't work. Like I said, half the time it doesn't work. I mean, one of the scenes in the trailers that you see is when she's fighting in an apartment, and the song that they choose for that scene does not completely work, even as like a song that would be completely opposite of what you would use does not work. I think the scene actually would have been better without any music. Granted, of course, there's a reason there is music, because that's kind of, like a lot of spies movies and stuff, they like to use music or sound or something to, kind of it's to kind of like muffle what they're actually saying and stuff. So it makes sense. But so actually the director was David Litch. Why did I see Joe Wright somewhere? But yeah, scratch that. Yeah, I don't know what it was about this movie that, maybe it was one of the trailers or something that I saw Joe Wright, and it just stuck with me because I was thinking Edgar Wright's brother. But I don't know. So yeah, the music it kind of threw me out of it. I mean, it felt like it was trying to be, like Guardians of the Galaxy had a really great soundtrack. Baby Driver had an amazing soundtrack, and Baby Driver was actually, it's a movie that was a few years old. It's not like a current movie. It's like a 2000 movie. The time frame that it was set in, and those just work. And it focused around it, and then here it's like they just chose these songs because one, those songs were popular at the time, excuse me, and two, um, it just it's I believe it was Warner Brothers producing the movie, and it's like you have access to this giant music library, and why not use it? And that's just a horrible reason to put some of these songs in this movie. I think it would have worked a lot better without them. It almost seems like they just didn't have an original composer, to make some original, background music and stuff like that. So they just threw these songs there, and half of them, like I said, half work, half don't. Um, the ones that don't like at the at a crucial time, and the ones that do are a little bit smaller scenes and stuff, and they just work. But yeah, so that's my biggest gripe about the movie. That's why I only recommend it as a second alternative compared to any other movie that you may want to see. I would definitely recommend Dunkirk over this for sure, especially if you're looking for action. But overall, I mean, it was shot really interesting. It was really cool. I believe the choreographer for the fight scenes was the same from John Wick, so that was really cool seeing that. And a lot of the fights were pretty interesting how they shot them. They had one fight that was just like, it looked like a one shot. I'm pretty sure it wasn't, but it looked like a one shot. And the way that the camera was moving, it was handheld completely, and it was just following the actors as they were fighting in a couple rooms, and that was really cool. I did like that because there was no music. It was just them fight. It was just a raw fight. It felt like kind of like a Born Identity fight when they're fighting in the restroom. It just felt like really personal and really savage, really basic instinct kind of thing. I was not trying to make that joke, but I did. It was a very, raw fight, and I like that a lot. What else? As far as everything else, all the other actors, they really fall, into a back seat besides the two main, really, which is Charlize Theron and was it John McElroy, I believe, the new Professor X, which he's been getting a lot of different stuff. He was in Split and a few other movies, but he's really good for his character. Charlize Theron just plays, she's amazing. I can't think of a movie where she does not play, 100. She does not give 100% in her role. In this one, she plays it perfectly. The story. I mean, the story takes place during '89 in Berlin when the wall is just about to fall, and it's pretty much the whole secret agent spy double triple quadruple agent work, and the ending was pretty interesting. Kind of saw it but didn't really, but it was pretty cool. I did like the ending enough, but yeah, it just, I don't know, like watching the whole movie, it just felt off. I mean, all the action scenes were amazing, of course, because of the choreographer, but overall, it's alright. Like I said, it's a definite second choice movie if you want some action more than anything else, and it does get its R rating for sure. I think it probably could have done without the R rating and maybe got a wider audience, but the R rating is there, and they do take almost full advantage of it, I should say. But yeah, if you've seen the trailers are pretty awesome, but try not to expect modern music. And even music during that time could have been chosen better, I think. But yeah, so overall, it was okay. I can't think of anything else to say to it besides it was alright. It's probably the weakest movie, which is saying something for this month. I mean, this month was pretty it was pretty full of some great movies. Dunkirk is definitely my number one for this week. This month, I should say. Might be my top pick for the summer, but there's still a few more movies I gotta see. August does have a few. I'm not gonna be as busy in August. There are definitely gonna be a week or two that I won't have a review, but definitely check out what I have to say if you're interested at all, because next week will be The Dark Tower, and this one just completely was not on my radar until I saw the trailer in the theaters, and it hooked me. I know about the story, I know about the comics, the graphic novels, and the story that Stephen King wrote, but I never read them, and I know they're great. But until next time, guys, later.